everyone, it's Fiona Edgar here. So I thought that I would make a short video on the astrology of the Ukraine. Here currently in a war with Russia, just to see what's going on. If you do take a little look at the birth chart here of the country, this is called mundane astrology. Mundane astrology is the astrology of countries, places, politics, things, so other than an actual person's birth chart. It's extremely useful. So I'm not going to pretend to be an expert in politics, although I do have my opinions about it all. I'm not going to mention those on this video. So I will say that this chart looks a little bit odd. It never looked like it was ever going to be any kind of lasting, stable country due to the fact that it's got Neptune rising here uh, in this chart for the Ukraine. So Neptune is a malefic planet. It's about deception, things going on behind the scenes. Whatever was going on when this country was formed. Again, I don't know all of the details or a lot of the details at all. I'm just going by the astrology. But whatever was going on when Ukraine was formed, a little bit suspicious. So it doesn't look like it was ever going to last the way that it was when it was formed. Also, it is a country that was always going to be involved in war, at the very least, power struggles here, as we can see with Scorpio and Pluto on the midheaven of the chart. Okay, so what's happening at the moment? Now, I did predict that a war would start on the 22nd of February, which is when Russia decided to invade Ukraine. The reason I was able to predict that is just because of the fact that the North Node was conjunct Algol, which is said to be one of the most unfortunate stars connected to this kind of thing. So what I decided to do is to look at the transits that are coming up for the Ukraine. Now, I don't think that this is going to stop anytime soon, is what I see in a nutshell. In fact, Ukraine itself has some very, very difficult aspects going on in April. So on April 11th, Saturn makes a conjunction to the moon in this chart in Aquarius. Now, Saturn conjunct the moon in a country can symbolize a great loss. It can symbolize a lot of death. Saturn here is this, figure of authority, the, government or their enemy's government, whatever. But something very horrible is happening here on April 11th. April 11th, a few days before or after with his conjunction. So the other thing is that on the 17th of April, Jupiter opposes Mars. So Jupiter is transiting through here and it's going to oppose Mars. That's a classic. It's explosive. Mars is the planet of warfare. So there's a lot of bombing going on or something not so nice. I hate to say it. So then the astrology in May is also, also quite challenging. There's Chiron square Neptune. So Chiron is squaring this Neptune here and the ascendant. So again, Chiron is currently transiting through the sign of Aries, which is all connected to warfare. So it's not a surprise that all of these things are kind of happening throughout the world. We've all been under a kind of attack, but especially for these poor folks in Ukraine. So also in May, Neptune is opposite their Mars, so that adds more kind of what the F is going on. Just no one knows really. The propaganda about Ukraine is just unreal. All of the most unsavory characters that we all dislike are supporting Ukraine. So I'm just going to leave it at that. So then in June, actually, they have some pretty good astrology. Jupiter is trine Chiron, the midheaven, and sextile the ascendant. So things temporarily seem to get better for the country in June. But then on July 1st, Uranus is opposite Pluto here, which is some kind of war machine from another country and all of that. Saturn conjuncts the moon again on August 1st. So it could be going on throughout the course of the summer, is what I'm saying. It doesn't look like they, regardless of all of the anti Russian propaganda that we're seeing, like, I don't read the news, but there's an annoying thing that comes up in my system tray that shows me news briefly every day, and it's all like anti-Russian propaganda. You know, oh, I'm not even going to go into it, guys. I promised myself that I wouldn't. So, uh, Saturn conjunct the Moon again in August, which isn't good. It's not nice. It's a feeling of heaviness, depression, and sadness is what I see here. Things do kind of look up again in September briefly, and actually after that. So September into October seems to be pretty okay. Whatever happens, there seems to be some kind of stability. But then as we go into the new year, so this is 2023, February again looks very difficult. Saturn is causing all kinds of problems because, as you can see here, the Ukraine has this stellium in Leo. And right now, Saturn, of course, is in Aquarius. So he's opposing all of this stuff and squaring the Scorpio planet. So it's not very good astrology at all. So into February and March, there are some big, there's big stuff happening again. Now, what exactly it is, I do not know, because astrology isn't fortune telling. It just tells us how people are feeling for the most part. So I can look at the country and see the transits and everything that's going on to get an idea of collectively how the people in Ukraine are feeling and what they're experiencing. So then looking into their solar return chart for that's not going to kick in until August. Solar return chart is, of course, a chart that they get on their birthday or the day before or the day after, and it's astrologer can look at that to predict the year ahead. Now there is this Uranus and Mars on the midheaven here. So both connected to warfare, violence. Uranus is connected to change. The identity of Ukraine is going to completely change one way, like for some reason, over the next, over the next year. And there's a big T square here. There's Uranus, Saturn, and then we've got Venus is hidden in the 12th, which does indicate some kind of yucky, deceptive stuff going on. So I know that if you're watching this, you're probably too smart to fall for any of the propaganda. But, the masses are, as usual, instead of, their COVID things, they're now thinking just about Ukraine and Ukraine only. But again, so not so nice astrology. Then into 2023. Next year, there is still some very volatile stuff going on. There's a Scorpio rising in 2023 for their solar return. Now, I would see Scorpio rising in the charts of people that, in some cases, pass away or they go through some kind of really intense change and transformation. So by then, Ukraine is going to be a completely different country. For, again, which reason, I don't know. If I knew more about it, the politics and all of that, I could probably say more, but I'm unwilling to speculate. Just that I don't think that it's going to change anytime soon, is what I'm saying with the astrology there, because people have been asking, what do you see? Well, probably it is the start of World War III. Not to be negative, but I'm not going to sit here and say that unicorns or space cats are coming to save everyone. Well, I just don't think that that's true, and I wouldn't try and fool you or give you false hope about things. There's always been war, so anytime I say stuff like that, someone always says, blah, blah, there's nothing to look forward to. Oh, no. Look, please grow a set and realize that there's always been war. It's the nature of this planet, unfortunately. So what am I looking for? The solar arc. So the solar arc is a way to predict make a prediction about the a huge prediction. So solar arc will show big life changes, or in this case, big changes to a country. Now, the thing that caught my eye when I looked at this earlier is that Jupiter. So this is the solar arc for today, the 16th of March. Jupiter in their solar arc is at 25 degrees 39 minutes. So that really is what set off the war here, is when Jupiter made a conjunction to Mars. Um, Not so nice at all. And then shortly, you know, a few months ago, the solar arc Chiron was actually conjunct their sun. So there's lots of signs going on that something big indeed was happening here. And that's really all I have to say. Like I said, this is a short video because I don't know that much about it. To be honest, I'm not going to pretend that I know everything, even because I'm like thousands of miles away from them. You can't know anything for sure by looking at anything on the internet anymore. All I know is astrology. I am an astrologer. So you can see those dates there for the people of the Ukraine. Um, so no, I don't think it's going to stop anytime soon. In a nutshell, so some things to watch out for. Okay, guys, that's all I have to say about that. So I love you all. Back again soon.